The Southern Alps means one thing today, the beautiful Canterbury region and the Banks Peninsula. It is in Christchurch, and today we're at the Fendalton Bowling Club for the World Singles Champions of Champions Edition 2014. 26 nations, 42 players over the past week, and now we are into semi-final day. A little bit of light cloud about, some blue sky and warm temperatures here at the Fendalton Bowling Club for day one and finals of the women's section. Semi-final number 1, semi-final number 2, and of course the final at around 2:30. Stephen McIver joined by Commonwealth Games gold medalist in the singles and 2011 champion of the singles in Hong Kong, Joe Edwards. Well, thanks for joining us here. Beautiful day. Let's just talk about the conditions. Hosing down yesterday. Will it have affected the greens for today?
Look, I think it would have made it better. The greens in Christchurch run pretty quick, and when you get a little bit of wind, they become quite hard to play. So the rain yesterday, I think, will just take a little bit of the shine out of it, and we should be in for a good day's play. Set
play format for this, not first to 21, best of 2 sets and the such. Like, how do you have to adjust the way you play for this?
Yeah, yes and no. It's all about the start, I think, in both sets, and whether or not you win the first set, you've just got to win the second set, and I think that's the mindset that you've got to get into. The start of the second set, it's 0-all, and you just got to win that second set.
And there were players on the greens here this morning playing their preliminary finals because, of course, the first top 2 went straight through, and then the others had to try and get their way into it. And that means Norza Ferrer will play Lorna Smith, a runner-up in this competition last year. She had to play this morning. She got past Helen King of New Zealand. It had to go to a tiebreaker. It was quite tense here about half an hour ago. In the second semi-final, just after lunchtime, it'll be Saskia Shaft against Litia Tikwisuva of Fiji. She too had to go to a tie-break end against her Cook Islands opponent, and the final will be at 2:30 this afternoon. So we've already seen that set play can really sort of push things along. Now, most importantly, the greens. What do you think they're running at, and how have they behaved all week?
Look, the greens here at Fendalton are absolutely brilliant. They normally run a little bit quicker, but I think that rain overnight and yesterday, we certainly did get a lot of it down here. I think it's just going to make it a little bit better. The slower the green, I think the better the bowls, and I think we're in for a great semi-final.
Advantage or disadvantage for the likes of Lorna Smith, having played only about half an hour ago and finished?
It's always an advantage if you play. It's one of those catch-22s. You'd rather be straight into the semi, but I think you'd rather win the playoff game to make the semi if you were guaranteed that. So to get a game under your belt, it's always an advantage, I think.
Let's just remind you of the order of play in the sense of the rules. Okay, so it's 2 sets apiece, right? In the end, the winner of each match is the best of 2 sets. But if it's drawn, you go to a tiebreaker. That tiebreaker, by the way, is 3 ends. And of course, if it just keeps getting tied by that, you just keep playing until you get a winner. It's as simple as that. So it can be quite tense when you get into that tiebreaker situation, as Helen King found earlier. All right, semi-final number 1 is not too far away. About 20-30 minutes ago, John Macbeth spoke to the participants in it.
So, Lorna, in a Scottish uniform this time?
Yes, I was last year also, and then previously in South Africa, I represented them twice at Warrilla in Australia, and I did well last year, picked by the post by Karen Murphy, in tough condition, and hopefully I do one better today.
You've had a tough road here, though.
Very much so. Everybody that's here very strong because they're all champion from their own country, so got to respect them.
Norza Ferrer, you've played Lorna before, haven't you, here?
Yeah, I played Lorna, qualified. I lost tie-break. Yeah.
So you've had some close games, haven't you?
Yeah, close game.
What about the conditions here? Have you enjoyed them? They've been different.
Yeah, I enjoy, but different, cool, rain and hot. But I like it.
But good today.
Yeah, good today, hot.
Good luck.
Thank you.
So just a reminder then that this is a replay of a qualifying game that Lorna Smith won at a tiebreaker back on Thursday. So that went to a tiebreaker just to show you that this 2-set play really can throw up any sort of result. Just talking to Joe Edwards, who's heading up to join John Macbeth. Lorna Smith is a very, very tough competitor. Good, strong crowd that were watching the preliminary semi-finals earlier today have banked up into the seats here at Fendalton, and we are ready to go with semi-final number 1, the 2014 World Singles Champions of Champions. It's live live on Sky Sport. Morning to you, John Macbeth.
Good morning, Stephen. It's very nice, and you've done a great job there. Joe's explained it very, very well indeed. And of course, I'm delighted to have her as a Commonwealth champion and former singles champion of champions winner up here, giving her expert advice. We've got a smallish crowd, but an enthusiastic crowd here for this match. The first of these semi-finals features the former South African representative, but the last 2 years, Scotland, Lorna Smith, and she will be up against Nusa Farhan of Malaysia. So the first of the semi-finals. It's all been explained to you, and this is tough and tense. It really is. So we've got wonderful conditions after yesterday, like that beautiful blue sky here. There is a slight breeze, and we'll get an indication of that from the big flags. There's Bill Fowley there, who's been running this tournament as he does so well, internationally recognised. Lorna Smith, I think we'll hear a bit of talk from her. She is a bit of a chatter. She likes to do that, and she's just about ready to start. Malaysian coach wandering through as well, just waiting for his charge to be settled and ready to play in this first of the semi-finals. Lorna Smith, who beat Helen King of New Zealand in a tense tiebreaker, extra end of a tiebreaker. And just chatting to King a moment or two ago, she said, well, of course I'm disappointed, but I gave myself opportunities and didn't take them. So Lorna Smith gets through by virtue of that fourth extra end. We're almost set then. This is the first of the semi-finals. We've been playing here in a mix of conditions over the last week at Fendalton Bowling Club. Superb facilities. Not for the first time have they hosted international events. This same competition was here last year. The mat goes down for the first time. This is Nusa Farhan of Malaysia. She puts the jack up to start this match. The umpire is Peter Turnbull. The marker is Anne Wright down there. Peter Turnbull and Gordon Cowie are the umpires for this. And Anne Wright is the marker who is into action initially. And we'll see her too with the lollipop, the indicators of who has the shot and who has eventually won each end. They will also get a chance to now have a look at what coloured bowls the players are using. This is the first one from Nusa Farhan. And this here, the dark blue Scotland bowl. And we've got our first two bowls underway, Joe, and you've raced up here, not out of breath. You did very well. I noticed you're not stumbling up those stairs. People wanted to talk to you and you brushed them aside just to sit here.
Just an elite athlete, John.
Good start there from Lorna Smith, indicating she's got the green. And as you mentioned in your chat with Stephen, it is a big advantage if you played a match in the morning or before this.
I think it is, you know. I mean, if you had your choice, you'd want to go straight through the semi. But if you had the choice that you would win your playoff game to make the semi, I think definitely you'd rather that. It's a big advantage, yes.
Another of the classy Malaysian players whose rise of prominence of bowls in that country has been rather spectacular over 20 years, isn't it, really?
Yeah, they started off before the 98 Commonwealth Games, and they just threw everything into the bowls program, and they've produced a number of great players coming out of Malaysia.
We'll have a look at some of those as we review previous Champion of Champions competitions and see the names, and there are quite a few Malaysians, and of course your name is there as well. There have been comments from people who've been talking about this, and someone mentioned last night, oh well, I'm going along because I want to see Joe Edwards play.
Which is a shot ball, please.
And we had to say, well, no, and Joe's not there.
Thank you.
So it's
and how far in front
not
of the
necessarily the top-ranked player in any country. It's their champion of their national tournament.
Yeah, every country runs their own national tournament, and the winner of the singles gets to represent their country at this event. And so the quality of the field changes every year, and you certainly can't dictate who's going to be there from year to year.
Oh.
Yes, we'll get quite a bit of reaction from Lorna Smith. She was quite vocal at the last World Championships when they were held in New Zealand at Burnside, and she was then playing for South Africa.
Yeah, she wears her heart on her sleeve, and yeah, I don't think there's too much wrong with that. I kind of do that too. But yeah, she is pretty vocal on the green, which just adds to it, really.
So we've got one ball to go from Lorna Smith. Playing that backhand. She was disappointed with her first. She looks from here to be holding shot. I didn't see what the marker put up, but I think that's right, is it?
Yeah, she's definitely got one. Could be two, but with Lorna, she's found her line very quickly, and I think as a bowler, that's really good, and it's half the game, and she's settled on that line pretty well.
Well, I've had two initially, but that might have just rolled in the Malaysian bowl. That's one shot to Lorna Smith. So this first of the semi-finals begins with Lorna Smith of Scotland getting a single. She leads by 1-0. This first end, it's not like first to 21 shots. You haven't really got time to settle down. You can't afford to have that first end to be a bit of a warm-up, can you?
No, but 9 ends is a long enough game that you can be a little bit patient. I think some people get 4 or 5 behind and they start chasing the game. I think it's really important just to draw the shot, get a couple close, and give yourself opportunities.
Smith again on that backhand, so backhand both ways.
Yeah, a little bit unusual to start the game like this. As newbies, you're always told to try and stay on one side of the green. But once again, she's found her line very well, so it's going to give her confidence early.
Players have had a couple of trial end each way, so they've had a chance to get a feel for this briefly. You can see the correction that they each need to make. To be being slightly nervous going into the semi-final. Nilza Ferran. I can understand that.
I think if you get a couple close early, it certainly takes the nerves away.
Lorna Smith, what sort of bowl is she? She's got, according to her notes, a Drake's. She's using Drake's out there. Hard to tell. Just sometimes, and there's quite a bit of interest sometimes from what people are using. Era or Nilza Ferrar Taylor SR Redline. There's so many different makes out there, and once players get onto one, sometimes with the help of a sponsor, but once they get onto one they like, they're unlikely to shift. You hear the zipping sound. It's the unzipping of Lorna Smith. She's just taking a jacket off at the other end, as you'll see. She put it on initially because it was still a wee bit cool out there, but now she's warmed up. Smith holding one.
Very unusual for Lorna. She hardly ever wears a jacket. I suppose coming from Scotland, this will be quite warm for her.
Well, there'll be a few Scottish listeners out there, viewers saying, we'll be writing, give us your email address, Joe Edwards.
No, to be fair, I was there 4 months ago, and it was perfect weather.
Yeah, it was. Look at that, and it's a perfect bowl too.
Yeah,
holding
she's certainly settled down well, better of the two, but you know, once again she's got a very good upshot.
On the run. Quite wide there from Noza Ferran as Lorna Smith comes down to have a look at this, and she'll see that she's holding 2 shots. She's going to extend her lead in this first set of 9 ends. They agree on 2 shots. That was fairly straightforward, and Anne Wright walks back with the markers, and 2 in this end. It's 3-0. Lorna Smith leading in this first semi-final.
And if you notice, Nor from Malaysia keeps her own little scorecard. They have been known for it for a number of years, where they grade and mark every bowl that they play. So it's their own little record of individual bowls, not rather than an end or a match.
All the nations here, and what, there are 26 or 28 nations involved, they're all working extremely hard to attract younger audience, but also younger participants. And there still is this perception, isn't it, that it's once you retire you can take up bowls. But when you have a look at the composition of the New Zealand team at the Commonwealth Games, for example, that was a young team, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was. Val and I certainly felt like the manners of the team this year, but you know, the 3 that joined us, I think it was 19 and 2 22-year-olds. So, but the England team were very, very young. The Australian team were young. And, you know, I think now, you know, bowls has become a sport. It's not just become a pastime or an older person's pastime, and people aren't embarrassed to say they play lawn bowls anymore.
Some of the other nations here supporting their teams, and we did have an earlier playoff between the Cook Islands and Fiji, Tai Jim and Lydia Tukasuva. Well, Smith just seems to be in the groove.
Yeah, if she can continue this form, it certainly puts pressure under Nor, and you know, she'll start playing some shots and possibly lose her draw. So she just needs to be a little bit patient here and try and stay with Lorna as long as she can.
Looks very calm, though. She has her coach in the dugout behind her. But I noticed, what's the situation with coaches being able to influence the players during these games?
Yeah, look, I think different countries have different, you know, they think a little bit different about the coaching, but you know, every other sport you have a coach involved with you, and I don't think bowls is any difference. I mean, a lot of times the coaches are on the sideline, you know, just discussing options. But I certainly think it's great, especially when you're playing singles. It's a lonely game, and just to have a wee chat to take your mind away from a wee bit of pressure on the green, it certainly works well.
I've just seen a very wide run shot from, was Farah, or Ira, as she's called. Lorna Smith just, she's making hay, isn't she? Yes,
yeah,
4 shots to her.
It's kind of a good bad bowl, though. It's fattened up the target a little bit.
Interesting. She had a run shot previously, and this time she's just trying to draw into save, and her draw has been well astray so far. She might well have cut out 1, but certainly 2 down.
Look, I thought she would have gone again with her last one, but that's a game of lawn bowls. Everyone sees it a little bit differently.
Yes, well, you're right there. You can see that, as you said, that last bowl of Lorna Smith's did fatten the target, so to speak, a more obvious target for the run. Will drive. She's taken out 2, and I think there's going to be a measure or not.
Have a little squeeze. Sorry, with the shadow here, I can't tell. 2 out.
You want to measure the umpire?
Just-
Umpire?
Oh, they're going to get an umpire to measure. Give those umpires something to do.
No.
Dozing off in the background
I'll
there.
remove. It's between that one and that one. Yeah. Just a shadow, I can't tell.
The umpire now is putting a chock in on each of them so that they don't roll or at any touch at all, because they can be touched with the end of the measure. It's interesting, we're talking about this with at the New Zealand Open last week, as Peter Bellis pointed out, the umpires only use the same sort of equipment as a player, don't they?
Yeah, they do. It's over in Australia they have a different measuring device which you know, that only the umpires use. So, but you know, they get trained and they certainly know where to put the measure onto the jack and onto the fattest part of the bowl. So they're certainly well trained.
3.
3 it is. So it takes out the nearer bowl. And you notice he measured twice just to make sure, so it was a very close measure, but it is 3. And we now have a score of 6-0 with Lorna Smith of Scotland leading Nusa Farhan of Malaysia.
No,
First of
I
our
was looking at the
semi-finals.
marker, got it. No.
This is the 4th end of 9 in this first set. And we have a second set of 9 ends. If one of the bowlers wins both those, then that's the match. But if it's 1-1 at the end of 2, they'll move into a 3-end tiebreaker. But that doesn't necessarily determine the winner either, as Lorna Smith found out earlier an hour ago when she was playing in her playoff match with Helen King of New Zealand. It had to go to a 4th extra end. Well, conditions are great here, aren't they? After yesterday. Well,
After the rain of yesterday, the greenkeepers and all involved at the Fendalton Bowling Club have done an amazing job to, you know, the green looks a picture, and you know, by the start of Lorna in particular, it's playing pretty well too.
Selangor, Malaysia. She's a Clark. Started bowling just the year after those Commonwealth Games, 1999. She started as a youngster.
The Malaysian program was pretty strong. They targeted lawn bowls in the 1998 Commonwealth Games, and the coaches around that time, Chu, and the senior players of Lena and Shima, and they certainly took to the game and took the youngsters under their belt, and they've just grown as a country, and they are a very, very strong opponent nowadays.
The back bowler far behind, please.
That last ball.
No, the one behind the, yeah.
A metre.
Thank you.
While the bowler can see pretty clearly what the situation is, it is always, they have that chance to ask the marker and to give them a firmer indication.
Yeah, look, the marker is the player's eyes. It just saves a lot of time where the players don't have to come up to the head, and you know, a lot of players like different information, like it in feet, inches, centimetres, yards, metres. But the marker normally asks you before you start the game how you want to receive information, and you know, their job is to make it as easy for the players as possible, and they are fantastic. They do a great job.
Facing the prospect of dropping a 3 here at the moment. Nusa Farhan still a little bit heavy, only that metre that it's about level with her previous bowl. She has 1 remaining, and Smith at the moment holding 3, and we'll just build on this. She knows the gap between the jack and that nearest Malaysian bowl.
Yeah, Yeah, she's played this end pretty well, Lorna. You know, she's got 3 great shots. She's going for a little bit of cover and really not set up any sort of a head for Nor to attack. So it's a straight draw. But Nor's, you know, she's found her green now and just needs to drop a yard, and she'll be on it.
So we've seen her during the week. She's been unerringly accurate in her draw play for a lot of the time. At this time she's dropped too much off and it will fall back on her, so it's a single at least there for Lorna Smith. She leads by 6-0 at the moment, and
Well done.
playing the 4th end.
Careful.
Yeah. Definitely one down. Looks like
Careful
2,
of my ball.
possibly a measure for 3
Need
here.
Something underneath.
You want the umpire?
Yes, please. My ball is hanging.
So not willing to take her shot bowl out because it may well be touching her other one there.
Yeah, the 2 bowls that will need to be measured are touching each other, and the shot bowl is touching one of the measured bowls. So, yeah, they put these in to stop any movement and to make the measurement a little bit easier.
We didn't tell the umpires to make sure they didn't cast their shadow over things so that we can't see. We'll have to make sure of that next time. Move the sun, yes. So he's taken out that shot ball. That's 1 now. The measure comes out. And to just see how one rotation would have given this woman here the shot here, but it was just slightly light. Now she may be faced with dropping another 3. Depending how close this bottom bowl is here as we look at it.
And the umpire, a good Nelson boy from the Nelson Bowling Club, Gordon.
Good Nelson boy. There is no such thing.
3.
See?
Thank you.
Scotland leads 3. 9
All right.
after. Oh, sorry.
Okay. 3.
9-0 to Scotland after 4 ends.
Here we are. 9-0. It is a 3. So it's been a very strong start by Lorna Smith. A single on the first, a 2, and then a brace of 3s. So 9-0 after 4 ends. And well, there's only one player in this at the moment, but Lorna Smith is experienced enough to know that that sometimes doesn't last, and a couple of big ends for Malaysian, or even just once you get scoring, might mean a turn in fortunes here.
I think that's the good and the bad thing about set play is, you know, you can win a first set 16-1. You're still only 1-0 up, you know, whether you win it 16-1 or 8-7. And there's been plenty of games around that you've lost the first set 16-1, you've won the second set 7-6 and gone on and won the tie-break. So it's a good thing about if you're behind in set play. You know, race to 21, you're starting to think making shots here, playing shots that you don't normally play. But, you know, set play can still only be 1-0 down at the end of the first set.
And as you said, what you've got to do is win that second set no matter what.
Yeah, it's you know, I know the first set's important, but to me it's all about the second set. You know, it's whether you've won the first set or lost it, you just got to win the second. No one wants to go into a tie-break.
Just noticed there Norza Farhan, as soon as she delivered the bowl and it was starting to break, she looked up, sort of an indication that there was a bit of breeze came through. Certainly the flags are moving a little bit more than they were, but they'll adjust. It's not bad out there at all.
There's still not a lot of wind around at the moment. No. During the week they had some tremendous winds down here. It's not much fun playing lawn bowls in the wind. Very, very challenging. But today, you know, I'm not sure whether the wind will play too big a part.
Well, it's not a wind, really, is it? You know?
No, just a little zephyr.
Yeah. you've just come back too from playing in Australia.
How far is my ball in front?
A bit exhausting, was it? That's a great series. I love that. And a lot of people would have watched that on Sky. It was relayed here, and I just love that.
Yeah, look, since I've been back, I haven't heard a bad word about it, other than the fact that we lost the semi-final. But, yeah, crazy tournament, very enjoyable. Great to be part of it. Great to be part of the Blackjacks with Ali Forsyth and Shannon McElroy. They were fantastic to play with.
So that's the third bowl on this end for the Scottish singles champion, Lorna Smith, who's playing against the champion from Malaysia this year, Nusa Ferran. It's the world singles champion of champions, the first of the semi-finals. And again, Nusa Ferran is just struggling with her weight. She's allowing really Lorna Smith to take a stranglehold on this first set. So the champion of champions, it's played over 2 sets of 9 ends. And if necessary, an extra set of 3 ends will be played to determine it, a tiebreaker. This time, Lorna Smith playing the forehand here, which she hasn't played much.
2 down.
Yeah, I think Nor just needs to kind of settle down a little bit. She's chopping and changing her hand a little bit, and you know, a lot of times the different sides of the greens run at a different pace, which becomes very frustrating because you think you're playing at the same weight, but if the green's playing a little bit,
and a measure.
You know, shorter or longer, it's very frustrating. So I think she really needs to use the last, say, 4 ends of the set to pick a side, stay on it, and just work her way, find her line, and the weight will come.
So we're talking about forehand and backhand and bowls for a right-hander. Your forehand is playing down the right-hand side of the rink. And the backhand, your arm sort of cuts across your body and down the left-hand side. And quite often, the 2 sides of the rink are quite different. And a lot of that comes through wear and tear of the green, and as we talked about, the wind, of course, but it really can be quite frustrating when eventually you change your hand and you haven't been down that side at all. It's called virgin territory. They can be really put at sea.
For sure, she just needs to pick a side of the rink and just stay on it for the next 2 or 3 ends and settle down to her draw bowling, which is certainly what she's known for.
So another 3, that's 3 ends in a row on which the Scottish champion Lorna Smith has picked up 3 shots. She had a tough match this morning against Helen King, the New Zealand singles champion. Was forced into a 4th extra end in the tiebreaker before winning that with her last shot. Yep. And then it was a matter of just calming down and having a breather before she got back onto the mat here to play against Nusa Ferran, who went straight through as the top qualifier in her section 2. The other player to go straight through was Saskia Schaft of the Netherlands. And we'll be watching her in action in the second of the semi-finals later this afternoon. Consistent length of jack for Lorna Smith. Why change it when you're on top of it? You'll notice a spray of white going on here by the marker. Still in some areas people will use white chalk. Yeah. But it's always a danger that you might move the bowl.
And I think international rules now, it has to be a chalk sprayer rather than a piece of chalk.
The reason for those of you who aren't bowlers out there, if they mark that, if in fact that bowl does go into the ditch within the field of play, it remains alive. Other normal bowls just get taken out and placed on the bank, but a toucher remains alive in the ditch. And quite often you'll see that come into play, particularly when we have some drives towards the end of a close end. Ira she's picked Well, she's staying on this hand, but she's picked her green very well again. It's only less than a metre of weight she's concerned about, isn't it?
Oh, look, it's a very good starting bowl, you know. When someone's got to touch a first bowl, it's always important to get something behind the jack. It sets up the end of the end, gives you a few opportunities to play a shot. That's why I think Lorna would be a little bit disappointed with her second bowl. You know, when you get pretty much a front touch, the next one needs to be behind.
I think it might have been in her line there. She's changed to the forehand. So her short bowl just sitting there and possibly in danger of it touching that and preventing this bowl getting up to where she wants it. That's a good second bowl from her.
That's a very, very good bowl from Lorna. Yeah, that first, the second shot that finished probably 6 foot short. You know, it is in your eye, and invariably you will hit it. It's only 4 inches wide, but you know, and then she's got 2 short bowls. So wise choice, changing a hand there.
So the Malaysian just playing onto this. If she can get onto that shot bowl and dislodge it, she might just settle. And she does it pretty well. Doesn't quite get the result, but that's what she was chasing.
Good shot. Second shot. Gives a way option at the end.
The front ball. Far in front, please.
That one?
Ah.
8 inches.
Thank you.
So she's gone back to the other hand now. Just avoiding any danger of that last bowl of Ilse Ferran. She's going to have a look. I wonder if she's looking for it. She's got such a handy lead, she needs to take no risks, does she?
Definitely, you know, it's all about holding on to this lead now.
Wow. That'll be 2. Marker holds up the 2, so the Malaysian champion knows exactly what's the situation is. She has a run and she might get one of them. It'll be that short bowl, and she was lucky not to take out her own. My word. And that was the nuisance value of that short bowl of Lorna Smith. And we have another couple for Lorna Smith. She extends her lead on this first set. 2 it is. So another 2. It's 14-0.
To Scotland.
Did you carry on or?
No.
No, you finished.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the first set.
Out of reach
Scotland won the first
for the
set,
Malaysian.
14-love.
14-love is the score after the first set. Didn't go to 9 ends, 14-2, and really Lorna Smith totally dominant in that.
Oh, definitely. In the semi-final format, it's like if you've won the set, you don't need to play it out. In the section play, you have to play everything out because sets come into differential comes into the qualifying process. So, yeah, that's the first set done and dusted. Fair to say that you know, Lorna did show her experience and her play, but you know, no, she's just 1-0 down. And it doesn't matter whether it's 14-0 or whatever, as I've been saying. It's 0-all now, and she needs to just focus on a really good start.
Start of the second set. Lorna Smith's taken the first, 14-0. She has the jack and her first bowl going up again in a reasonable position. She's only bowled really 2 or 3 loosish bowls in the 6 ends to date. She's done it, been consistent without doubt. Yani from Malaysia won this title in 2005 when the championships were held in Christchurch. And we had a Malaysian winner, I think, 2012 in the men. I picked up a couple of these titles, always tough at Commonwealth Games and World Championships as well. And gosh, Lorna Smith at the moment, upper hand, holding 2.
Yeah, Nor got her weight right with that bowl, and She just needs to find that line and she'll settle down. It's always a nice feeling when you can get back to the centre line.
The line was better. It's in Lorna Smith's eye. I think she's shrugged her shoulders and just changed over to the forehand, so down that right-hand side. Just see the way they
That hand
bowls, of
going
course, are
down.
weighted on one side, and that just brings the ball on the curve. See it moving in from that right-hand side.
Once again, changing hands and it falls a bit shorter.
Yes.
I think this forehand's just a fraction slower than the backhand, and that's why it's so important to just try to keep plugging up and down one side of the green.
Well, it's a pity she hit that, really, because that looked slightly better weighted, and it probably still needs a fraction on it to get in there. And she's opened it up a wee bit better for herself, though. Smith musing, will I play this hand or the other? And sometimes when you see that slight indecision on the mat, there she goes, she's going down to have a look. You could see the indecision. She wasn't sure whether she should play the forehand, which she doesn't prefer.
It's a very good decision for Lorna. She's going to go up here and realise that bowl, the pink bowl out there, is not really in her way. It's a metre, a little bit more than a metre short, so she doesn't have to be right on the jack to score here. You know, she just needs to beat that front bowl, and it puts an enormous amount of pressure on Law.
So having a look at it has convinced her that she can use that backhand. It's a weight like.
It's a little bit on the short side, but it's you know, it's all about beating the opposition's closest bowl, and I think we all get a little bit preoccupied with drawing front and back touches, and you still get the same amount of shots if it's a foot or 2 foot away, as long as it's beating the opposition's bowl.
You do get carried away if you don't do it very often. First end of the second set, and Malaysian completely outplayed in the first set, conceding after 6 ends, having a little run at that. Is she looking for the jack? Oh, just out of it.
Yeah, look, I think she was looking at the bare jack there. It is, you know, a little bit under pressure. Lot of gaps up there for a bowl to go through, and not sure whether that was the right shot to play. It's only a very small target, the jack.
It is 2, so really she didn't even have second shot there if she'd taken out the shot bowl. Here we go at again. And there are gaps there. The jack is not a very big target. It missed that. It missed the shot bowl, which was, I think, blocked anyway. And so Lorna Smith starts from where she finished on the first. This is the first of the semi-finals. Lorna Smith against Noza Ferran. Lorna Smith from Scotland, Noza Ferran of Malaysia. Malaysian went straight through to the semi-finals, having won her section. And Lorna Smith went through a playoff today against the New Zealand champion Helen King, winning that on the 4th tiebreaker end.
And she, Helen King held that game. Lorna drew it with her last bowl. So, you know, if you're going to do it, it's good to do it on your last bowl. It doesn't give the opposition a chance to get rid of it. But, you know, a lot of pressure, game down, had a metre to draw it, and she drew one within a couple of feet.
Right, let's see what Noza Ferran can do here. She really needs to start scoring. She hasn't scored at all.
And
This is
one
better.
looks quite close.
So for a change, Lorna Smith is not holding shot.
Yeah, look, that might settle Nor down, you know. It's all, you start playing mind games with yourself, you know, am I good enough? Should I be here? And, you know, I think it's just to go back to the basics, go back to your own process and make sure everything's right on the mat, and the outcome should look after itself.
She's taken a bit of extra green here. It's a bit too much by the looks of it.
Yeah, it's a common fault. There are only little adjustments on a bowling green, and you know, you try and make too much of an adjustment, and that's what happens, you know. Very
Marker
close.
just looking to see if there's a touch. There's not.
Mấy one up.
Plenty of clothes on. Malaysian has the jacket. She's also got a fleecy jacket underneath that. We haven't seen her do this. We haven't seen her visit the head except when Lorna Smith did on the last end.
I think it's quite good when you are struggling. You tend to go into your shell a little bit, and I think you know,
She's just gone down.
just running up, chasing your bowl.
The ball fell
Just
down.
gets the blood running a little bit, gets you a little bit excited. See your bowl coming into the head and all that sort of thing. So I think she's doing the right thing here.
This is the first time in the semi-final that the Scottish champion Lorna Smith has playing her final bowl and one down.
Yeah, it had to come, but kind of a, you know, it's just over the draw. Get a couple of rolls out of her blue bowl.
So Smith has first bowl to her. That's the blue one just coming into shot now. That could come into the play, or she could, or she's going to. She's going to just give it a roll. As Joe said, it needed maybe 2 turns. Close though.
I don't know.
So now Malaysian really needs to step up to the mark and capitalise on this.
Yeah, look, she's got a couple of feet to draw a shot here. I think she's got one. The jack level bowl always seems to be a little bit closer than a shorter bowl. But she definitely needs to draw the shot here. Give us a little bit of confidence, and then she gets to chuck the little yellow thing up, which will be the first time in the match.
Final ball, second end of the second set, down by 2-love and a set to love. And has she done it?
She's very close here. It's a very, very good shot.
That's outstanding in the context of this match, without doubt. The marker will hold up 2. And she is on the board at last in the semi-final.
Now it's about just taking a little bit of stock. What length am I going to play? What length do I feel comfortable at? And you know, not rushing with this jack. It's a big part of the game, throwing the jack, and it's an art. And I know that a lot of leads, especially for the New Zealand team, spend a lot of time practicing throwing the jack.
So she has the mat way back, and she's comfortable with that. I think Lorna Smith has had the mat out just a fraction, not much.
It's not too dissimilar length here, but sometimes I think that's good, that you try and find a length and not try and stuff up the opposition. You know, we always talk about, it's all about ourselves and what we do. And if you try and, throw changes for the opposition, you invariably
just for the sake of it.
Yeah, you muck it up for yourself. So, she's comfortable on this length. Play it for a couple of ends and find the weight, and then maybe try and make some corrections.
Down.
Malaysia still holding. Second bowl on this end. Third of the second set. Ferran of Malaysia, just dropping weight and green at the same time, not able to be consistent yet.
Yeah, just took that extra little bit of grass to try and get round the blue bowl where, really the bowl's going to turn, and you just got to trust that it's going to turn, and trust your line that you're taking.
There's that change, just that little correction that she was trying to make.
Yeah, just a little bit in a hurry to get off the mat as well, and it certainly affects your delivery. You need to, stay on the mat, make sure you finish your delivery, and you've got ample time to get up to the head before your bowl stops. But you lift your head, the bowl drops a little bit, and it changes your weight and your line.
Born in Seychelles, represented South Africa, now plays out of the Linlithgow club in Scotland. Attended the 1994 Commonwealth Games. Canada, that was her first.
And you can hear Lorna getting frustrated down there. That just every bowl that's going up there is short, and you just got to give yourself that reminder before you let it go.
We have replay of that last bowl, and almost instantly, look at her, she knows. This is the last bowl for the Malaysian. This looks to be tracking well if it can get around this bowl and not quite running it out. So she's holding the shot. I think that was the last indicator. Yes, it is. We can still see the marker with the red marker up. So she's holding shot. There we are. So now Smith, who's beating herself up a bit. Her playoff match with Helen King, she lost the first set. She did to King, and then she fought back and won the second and took it into a tiebreaker. And she needed, on the fourth extra end, she needed to play a stunning draw shot to win it, and she did. She's had a big match already, and this looks to be a bit narrow. She's going to push up. Didn't quite hit the Malaysian bowl square enough, otherwise she might have seen herself 2 down.
Malaysia.
As it is, it's 1-2 Luza Ferran of Malaysia, and she takes the lead for the first time. So now you wonder, Joe, in a situation like this, the mental games or what happens mentally. Lorna, it sounds as though she's really getting tough on herself, and you just sort of you wonder what's going through her mind. Well, we don't know what Nusa Farhan's reactions have been. She's been very quiet, but the fact that she's now in the lead and has drawn a couple of reasonable bowls, what's that doing for her?
Look, I think, you know, you can have a huge swing of emotions in set play. You know, Lorna had the first set all her own way. Nor was pretty disappointing in that first set. But now you can see a little change in Lorna where it was coming easy. She was drawing shots easy because she didn't have a lot of pressure on her. Now Nor's putting just a little bit more pressure on her, and you know, Lorna's drawing, you know, 3 feet away instead of 2 feet, and you know, beating yourself up's all good as long as you can just forget about the last bowl, and the next bowl in your hand is going to be the shot. So as long as she can do that, she'll come right, and we should have a really good finish to this game, I think.
Well, last year she was the runner-up in a very tight match against the Australian Karen Murphy. And this time she's had to really battle her way through.
Look, she's just a fantastic player. Yeah. I met her probably way back in 2002 at the Manchester Commonwealth Games, representing South Africa there. A very proud South African, had the South African flag coloured in the back of her hair, and you know, she loved it. And you know, going through the years, she just hasn't changed. She's just been very, very passionate about her bowls, and I know representing Scotland means the world to her.
This is probably the scratchiest end we've had.
It's funny how, you know, one can put one a metre away, the second person doesn't get one inside that, then one puts one right on it, and all of a sudden, you know, the next one does. So it's all, you know, a lot of mental play, and not putting too much pressure on yourself.
Shot ball, please.
Measure between those two for shot ball.
Okay.
Look, it's a long measure for shot here.
And your front one.
Realistically, it's not too important, but I think Lorna's just come up to see how much room she actually has, and it doesn't really matter whether she's up or down here. She just needs to get as close as she can.
Yep, there's a ton of room there. I suppose people are wondering why she's gone from South Africa to Scotland as a representative, Joe, but it was she met some Scottish bloke, didn't she?
Yeah, just actually, he's an English bloke, but lives in
Scotland.
That's right,
he is too, yeah, yes. But CEO of World Bowls.
Yeah, and a lovely man too. He does some wonderful things with the game of lawn bowls, and yeah, Lorna met him, married him, and moved to Scotland.
Is her second to last bowl, but she really hasn't added enough on, or yes, she has, just gets around it. Gosh, that she was blowing, I think, from the other end, just helping it along. Don't you just love it? Sometimes having microphones on players is not the greatest.
Look, you just forget you've got them on too, and you do and say some funny things.
Final ball on the fourth end for Nusa Farhan.
Yeah, she doesn't want to drop an ugly 3 here. She needs to get a good second shot, if not the shot, which it looks like she has done very well.
Oh, great ball. Under pressure. She's hauled one out of the box.
Very good bowl under pressure. As I said, you know, you work hard to get a 3-2 lead and then drop an ugly 3, and you know, did very, very well to get the shot here. It wouldn't surprise me if Lorna plays a little bit of weight down the backhand, and got a couple of seconds.
Yeah, so as you have a look head when this ball's
Sorry,
coming
I
down. You'll
forgot
see
now.
that, or in fact, you'll have a look at
The
the
shot
situation
ball
that
is
she's
behind
looking
the
at
jack,
now.
isn't
Is
No.
that while Noza Farhan holds the
Ball
shot
front.
there where
Yeah,
the marker
that's-
was standing, there are a couple of Lorna Smith's balls which would be next in line, or second shot as you call them. And if she can dislodge, or oh no, she's going on the other hand, and that forehand down there. Played some great draw bowls. She's seen one under pressure by her opponent. This is wide.
Possibly
What's the
with
objective there?
Well, I think she was just trying to draw it dead or roll her blue bowl up a couple of 3 times. I think she thought that it was just a fraction low of the jack, and she gets onto the bowl, gets onto the jack, and Nora had a couple of pinkies out wide, possibly thinking that 1's not a bad drop at the moment, where 3 could be a little bit ugly.
Yep, so 4-2 it is. Malaysia leading Scotland in the semi-final. The world singles champion of champions here at the Fendleton Club in Christchurch. Look at that beautiful blue sky up there, and the trees just moving a bit. The flags, so you can see some in the background. Those banners are moving all over the place, but it's not really that windy. And you went down actually beforehand. Well, on ground level, was it?
Look, yeah,
much
I
there?
at the interview early before the game started, and there really wasn't a lot of wind at all. Has picked up a little bit, but you know, I don't think it's going to have too much effect on the bowls, to be fair.
She was sitting right behind that delivery from Ilza Farhan, and her line was spot on, but just dropping a couple of metres short.
Yeah, she's changed her hand coming back up here, and you know, which is all good, but I think she just needs to stay on this hand and work out the weight.
Not happy with that. When there's one ball in your somewhere on the line, you're bound to hit it.
Look, it's not
If she
that.
wanted to, she couldn't have.
Look, it's not that big either, I tell you. It's one of the bugbears of bowlers. If there's a bowl out there, you'll certainly hit it.
Might be a little break that the Malaysian has desperately been seeking. Smith winning the first set 14-0. She made the adjustments. Certainly her weight's better. It's coming in to be a good bowl here from Lorna Smith, the Scottish champion. So there we are. That's an indication of how the flags are moving, but of course they're a wee way in the above the green level. Still, it is a bit more than it was, but not really making an impact, and certainly not for the Malaysian champion. It's the shot. Certainly it's visible, and the shot is drawable for Lorna Smith. Oh, look at this, look at this.
Oh, good
Beautiful.
shot, yeah, she couldn't play with any weight, because if she got onto her back bowl, she would be 3 down. So it's a very good shot. Even if she didn't get the shot, she's got 2 on the head, which gives her options with her last bowl. Bit wide on this occasion. Good weight for it. Touch of the jack or a sort of the bowl,
What is
but
the one?
just threw it out a little bit too wide.
Well, she's holding the shot here, but she's also...
Yes. You
might
can't
have
squeeze it too.
just one, is it? No, it might be 2, she says, yeah.
She's just asked if she could squeeze a 2. But no, definitely just the one shot to Lorna.
But you can see the prospect here of if she is able to move that Malaysian ball back and sit. Could have 3.
Look, it's coming down on that forehand, I think, and she's not sure of the weight. I think it'll just be a dead draw on that backhand.
Yes, it is. Backhand, certainly. She had a skip down there. She'd be saying, same again. Not wanting to do any damage there. And so we do have another single, so she's back into scoring mode.
Yeah, you tell yourself the same bowl, but don't be narrow.
Yeah.
And yeah, just forces you out that little bit wide.
(4-3). Malaysia leading Scotland in this first semi-final of the women's singles champion of champions. And later on today, we'll have the second of the semi-finals. Saskia Schaft of the Netherlands against Lydia Tikoisuva of Fiji, who beat Tai Jim of the Cook Islands in the playoff this morning. Those playoffs started at 8 this morning. So if players go right through to the final, at the end of the day, it's been a long one for those who were involved in those 8 o'clock games. Smith back with the jack.
A little bit longer than what they've been playing, so it'll be interesting this first bowl to see if she's gauged the weight right.
It's a great shot for you there, just tracking the bowl all the way down and seeing that where it starts to work. Using the bias, coming in nicely. That's almost a perfect weight, which is how fast you've sent the bowl down. If it stops up alongside the jack or somewhere on that line, you've got perfect weight. So it is slightly longer, you're right, Joe, yes. Maximum length almost. The jack half a metre back from maximum, or a metre. This is good too. Look at this coming in. Just inside, so that's the objective here, to be better than your opponent. And Dosa Ferran has been on this occasion. Well, she's got the back bowl, there's no doubt about that. This isn't going to be short either, is it?
No, it's not, but it's still a good shot. You know, she's got the shot and the best back, so it's going to stop Lorna from playing any sort of weight later in the end.
Don't you wish you were out there?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, this is superb. Look at this from Lorna Smith.
Very good shot from Lorna here.
Just cutting across.
Yeah, look, it gives her a good position for her next bowl. You know, 2 seconds, best back. Depending on what Lorna does now, gives her a great opportunity to score on the last bowl of the end.
Last bowl for Smith. She's holding shot. Malaysian is handily placed to capitalise if this one goes nowhere. Oh, she might set up the perfect block here. That's made it difficult for...
There's a nice shot down here on the backhand, jack of the bowl.
So where she's coming for now, if she can move the shot bowl see that there are pink balls all around it, but she's too wide there. If that was her intention, you could see there that moving that black ball, the shot ball, would have been advantageous for Nusa Ferran. But instead she drops a single again. So we've got it all tied up at 4-all in this second set of this first semi-final.
She played it pretty good weight. You know, she gets down to the shot bowl, she's probably going to hang around for 3. Unfortunately, she's just a fraction wide and didn't give a bowl a bit of a chance to turn back into the head.
There it goes there through the gap. And yeah, just looking at where she knew where it needed to go. Wanted it to dip a bit earlier than that. A bit narrower as the jack comes up again. Lorna Smith once again with the match. She's only conceded it a couple of times.
It's a typical display of someone dominating the first set and then coming back, you know, 4-all after 6 ends. It's a crazy format, and I don't know why it happens, how someone can have such a control on the match in the first set. I don't think that, you know, they fall off the pace, but I think the opposition that's been beaten, they just know that they have to tighten up, know that they have to play better, or else, you know, there's no more games.
But the Malaysian certainly hasn't had the consistency today that she's shown throughout the tournament, and Smith started consistently, and in that first set, well, she got up to, after 4 ends, she was 9-0 up, after 5 ends 12-0 up, and the Malaysian conceding after 6 ends at 14-6, conceding because, as you can see, they only have the 4 bowls, so she couldn't score enough points even with maximums on each end.
Just unfortunately a little bit tight there, and hits Nor's bowl up to jack level.
This is a great opportunity if she can just maintain or get into that consistent draw. She's got to get over this time inside, turn the right way. It's just not falling for her.
1.
Yes.
Thank you.
Smith needing to just beat that shot on the right as we look at it. Or take the jack.
And she's got it.
Oh gosh, that's given it 2 now. Run it down to that first bowl.
Great shot, great weight. You know, she had the options of sitting the pink bowl or touching the jack, and if she missed both, she was in a great catching position for the next one. Nor's very quick on the mat to let this one go. Yeah, she just needs to just take her time a little bit more. The jack's moved probably 1 or 2 metres. You know, how much harder do I have to throw this? And just needs to probably, you know, just slow down a little bit.
Oh, that hand. Oh, dear.
I don't think she likes that hand.
No.
Come on.
The way things are going, she might just get a bit of help off that wing bowl of hers, and didn't miss it by much, but that's in the count.
It certainly is.
Yeah. That hand's got me.
Well, the delivery's already underway by the Malaysian, and
She's good.
she's playing that backhand.
She's good.
Lorna likes it.
Yeah. Going to cut it down anyway.
Oh,
She's going to cut it down. In fact, she'll take the shot. That's a pressure ball. She's done it twice in this set now. From being 3 down, their last bowl, she claims the shot.
To Malaysia after 7.
And just took that fraction more time on the mat. It's so important that you don't rush things. Get everything right. Know exactly what you're doing.
Well, There was a track through there. She found it beautifully and gets some applause. Some of it will be a bit sympathetic too, I think, because they know that she's played so well during this tournament, and she's just not showing us the consistent form that she has. There's the score. That's how it's gone. Scoring 2s on the first and second end, each of them. 2 all after 2. 4 all after 6. And now 5-4 to Ferran.
Very, very good start. It's so important in singles to get that first bowl close. It just puts pressure on the opposition straight away. Sets you up to control the end.
Not a mile away either. That's a good response.
Very good response by Lorna.
How far Lorna ball?
A lot of times early in the end, it's not all about getting the shot, having the shot. It's about setting up so that you're not going to drop big numbers, and you give yourself opportunities to make a number at the end of the end. So it's a very, very good bowl from Lorna.
First real communication between this bowler and the marker, just determining how far short of the jack was the last bowl. He's suddenly in the zone.
How far is the last ball, please?
At 2 feet.
What she was asking was how far short was that second bowl of Malaysians. Now the Scottish champion.
She's just going to be wanting to beat the shortest pink bowl. Give herself a couple of seconds. She won't be happy with that one.
Can I move up? Can I move up?
Yes, you may.
In the rules of singles, international singles, you're not allowed to go up to the head till after your third bowl, but in certain circumstances you can ask the marker if you can come up and have a look. And I think this is a really good idea for Noor, just to have a look at the head, see where the bowls are placed, see what hand Lorna's going to play the shot, try and cover, try and get another second, and go back with a firm idea of what shot she wants to play.
Good number of fans here having a look. We've got, of course, the men's singles on at the same time. Their big day is tomorrow. Playoffs, semi-finals and final. So what would you expect from Noor here?
I think she's just going to be wanting to get another second bowl, or one just past the jack, just so that it makes Lorna's shot a little bit harder. She has to play with perfect weight.
So here we go, that backhand. See the situation there. She's
it's still a pretty good bowl. You know, Lorna's only got one on the head. She can't afford to play with any sort of weight.
Ferran has stayed down at the head. She's standing on the embankment and just watching this. She's intent on seeing exactly what Lorna Smith plans to do, the end result of this bowl, and then she'll go back and play her last on this 8th end, 8th of 9. Is this set scores 14-0 the first, 5-4. It is tight in the second. Here's Smith now going wide on that forehand.
Yeah, she's wanting that to get past the jack to give her a bit of a chance on that last one.
So therefore any movement of the jack would favour her because she has the backest bowl. It's only just over the jack and to the side.
It's only just over, but it might give her an option down on the backhand to get on the back of the pink onto the jack and to spit it out to her blue one.
She probably wouldn't try it if it was on the forehand because she just does not favour that forehand. Here we go, last bowl for Norza Ferran. This is the 8th end. She's holding shot. She's leading by 5-4. Needs to take this end out to give herself a really good opportunity of forcing this into a tiebreaker. Doesn't want to waste this bowl. It's got to play a part. And Lorna Smith is already walking off. She knew that was short and it's not where she wanted it. She didn't necessarily need to have it in gaining another shot, but she wanted it to play a role in preventing Lorna Smith from playing with any aggression.
Yeah, Lorna's got a big call to make now, whether she takes the 1-0 down, the one shot down here and goes into the last end 2 behind. She has the luxury of being able to draw the set and still win with the virtue of winning the first set. So
the situation where this bowler is heading now is that
she's playing down the forehand. I think she's just looking to draw it dead. It's a grand effort.
Yeah. But she is going to concede one.
But she knew that if she took her own one out there, then pretty much the set was over.
Oh, that's right. She was in danger of dropping more than the single if she'd played that at all erratically and with too much weight.
For sure. And now she's 2 down going into the last end, knowing that she just needs a 2 to progress into the final.
That's dead right. The jack's already on its way in this 9th end of the 2nd set. The first set won by Lorna Smith of Scotland, 14-0. It's been much tighter in this second, and going into the 9th end, it's Norza Ferran of Malaysia leading Lorna Smith by 6-4. A level up, so getting a 2 on this would give Smith the match. Having won the first set and drawing the second, she'd be through.
And Nor's going for a slightly shorter length going back this way.
Smith taking a long route to this match. She went to 4 extra ends in her playoff against Helen King of New Zealand from the Victoria Club in Wellington.
Yeah, Helen did extremely well winning our national tournament over Christmas last year. Beat a very young, talented bowler in the name of Taylor Bruce. Watch out for that name. I think she's going to make big things happen in the sport of lawn bowls. But you know, Helen showed her experience and won that game.
Oh, this is going to be some final end. She's not a mile away either. Look at this. Goodness me.
That's a very good second shot here.
She just put something over the head now, over the jack, and
yeah, look, it's one of those things. You want one bowl to finish in 2 positions. You want another second, but you want one. You don't want to fatten it up. You just want one behind, and it's where it's really important to know the shot. You know the position where you want your bowl to finish, and just be positive with those thoughts.
I think she's got 2 seconds here, hasn't she? When we see it again, yeah.
Yeah, close. It's still not a bad bowl there. It's very good weighted.
Yeah.
You know, she gets onto the jack, and that could come into play.
Surely the Malaysian will be a little bit over this time. No, she's not going to be by much if she is at all.
Yeah, the shot here is possibly on the forehand for Lorna, but she's a little bit mentally challenged by this forehand, so it'll be certainly interested to see which side of the rink she plays this last bowl on.
She needs to get 2 to win. She'll be level on score, but that would give her the advantage. She has 2 second shots here. As you look at it there, there's the shot bowl obvious to the right. It's got the chalk mark on it, but the 2 dark blue bowls are second and third shot.
Yeah, look, jack or the bowl, either or.
That's right. So her target is pink bowl or jack.
The bowl's a little bit bigger, so I think that's what she'll be going for.
She's staggering backwards. She's
close.
She likes it. She likes it. She's
close.
Nudged it. And draw from that view, you would suggest it's not the shot.
No.
And you would say that the Malaysian Norza Ferran will hold.
Tie break, here we come.
1.
Yep.
And it's confirmed by the marker. And so after winning the first 14-0, Lorna Scott has seen the second slip away. And it's 7-4, second set. We've got a tiebreaker in the first of the semi-finals. Here was this final shot. Gosh, that was very, very close
Who called last time?
for being perfect.
Scotland, do you want to call?
Oh, and she knew it. She knew it. Oh, frustrated.
I think with that weight, she really was looking for the bowl. You know, jack straight back would have given her the desired result as well.
(7-4), the second set. We're back to all square now. So we disregard those first 2 scores. It doesn't matter. This is a new game.
A very, very little game of 3 ends.
But then if it's level after 3, we'll go into a 4th, as was the case when Lorna Smith played Helen King this morning. So, as we expect, backhand coming down towards where Joe Edwards and I are situated.
A very good start with her first bowl from Lorna Smith. It's so important to get back into this drawing phase after playing a little bit of a weighted shot with her last bowl.
Tracking her down, slightly over. Not a bad position here for Norza Ferran. Great green, meaning she's right on line with the jack on that centre line.
Just talking about a wee green patch on the green there, and a number of different places on bowling greens. The weed grows at a different rate or a thicker rate, and it does have an effect on the bowl. It slows down the bowl if it's a thatchy patch, but you know, you've got to be aware of where the jack is in relation to all these things. And you know, there's some bowling greens have a bit barer patches, which is obviously going to make the bowl run a little bit quicker. So it's all about concentration and being aware of where you are, where the mat's been placed, where the jack is.
There she goes. Oh, come on, she's saying, go, go, go. I'll run behind it and blow at the same time. She likes that, though. Wow. She's holding 3. Yep, here we are, 3 on the first end of a tiebreaker. That's a big advantage.
It's a good score if you can hold on to them.
Well, she'll look at that and say, if that jack moves slightly back, I'll be the 3 down.
Look,
so she might just look at cover there, but she's in a great position.
Yeah, it's that type of shot where, you know, you can cover and count, where that nice little yard-on shot that Nor's been playing with those 3 draw shots, really. But, you know, you play that shot, then it opens up a firmer weighted shot, because Nor all of a sudden has the 3 best back bowls. So, once again, this bowl's got to finish in 2 positions.
Yeah. We're playing the first extra end in the semi-final of the women's singles champion of champions at Fendalton and Christchurch. Lorna Smith has just bowled her last. She's from Scotland, so she's now got the backest bowl.
Yeah, look, I think that's a very good bowl. It now makes Nor play a perfect weighted shot, where before, even if she killed it, it gets respotted on the 2 metre mark, and having the 3 best back bowls. Very good shot, but, you know, the shot is on for Nor here, just to get down, sit the blue bowl, touch the jack. Big bowl in the context of the tie break.
See those 3 pink bowls? I think she's wide.
Yeah.
Very wide. And she has conceded 3.
Ouch.
It was there for her, but it was not accurate enough. And Lorna Smith keeps it going.
Could have been 3 down to 4 up in a blink of an eye.
The extra end starts in favour of Scotland. Lorna Smith of Scotland leading Milzafera of Malaysia 3-0 in the first extra end. 3 extra ends in this. That's a great start, 3-0. Mind you, it just needs a 3 the other way, and suddenly you're back to all square, and you're playing the final extra end.
Yeah, it certainly sets up the tie break, though, scoring a 3 on the first end. Lorna knows now she only needs to score a 1, and that makes it pretty much out of reach. Nor knows she has to score. Pressure goes from one side to the other, and it's just how Nor can handle it, really.
Just need 1.
She's certainly been the dominant player in this semi-final. Not conceding a point in the first set and winning that by 14-0.
Lorna keeps telling herself, I just need 1, I just need 1. Sometimes it's the hardest one to get.
Runner-up last year. Now trying to make a place in the final yet again.
And she came up against Karen Murphy last year, who played tremendously well at the Burnside Club. Been a great rival of mine over the years. We made our debut in the academy team way back in the day. And she's gone on to make a great name for herself in the game.
Well, it's fantastic to see her here. I think she arrived yesterday to watch these final couple of days.
Yeah, she's just been appointed onto the World Bowls Board, so it's a huge thing for a player, and I think it's going to be good to get a player's view onto that board.
Just having a look to see if spot Karen Murphy in the stand, but I think she's in the other side, and quite a few people are viewing it from upstairs inside.
It's getting on the wrong side of the pink bowl there. On the inside, she's got the shot. Outside, she's still 1 down.
Holding 1. Milzafera of Malaysia. He's her 3rd. Oh, it looks to run out of puff, has it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a tight bowl, played with tension in the body. She needs one.
She's not going to want to go down that forehand side, I'll tell you that now.
She's already standing, looking backhand, isn't she?
Yeah, she's talked herself out of it.
Too wide.
She was seeking the shot ball.
She's trying a little bit of a...
And she might get some luck out of this. No, she doesn't.
Yeah, it's a... You know, when you play a shot like that and you miss, you all of a sudden open up. You know, Nor's got a yard, over a metre to draw another shot here.
Sorry.
Can she get him? What's her weight like here?
Okay, I think
This is the last bowl.
Yeah.
Gets in, sneaks in, takes two.
A wise man once told me that you've got to have a little bit of respect for your opposition and don't give them too much room to add on their last bowl. And wise man was Peter Shaw, who was the men's manager back when I was in the started in the New Zealand team, and I've carried the words of wisdom with me. And there's been a number of times, you know, you see yourself getting the shot, but I don't think it's a negative to see if you don't get it. And you know, you open up just a big part of the paddock for your opposition to draw another shot.
Peter will be most impressed that you called him a wise man.
On that occasion he was.
Third, and is it the final end of this match? Third end of the tiebreaker. Oh, this looks like a good starter too.
Very good start.
On the button. This game is not over. It looked at 14-0 after the first set that Lorna Smith was just going to walk home with this. A 3 on the first end of this extra ends. This tiebreaker sort of reinforced that. That's a very good start here by the Malaysian. What a response. Oh, through the gap.
A little bit quick for the shot that she had been looking for. Just been wanting to get one as close as she can.
Very quiet here. You can hear the birds, and that's about all. This is tense. Bowl of Smith's is about half a metre short of the ditch. The last bowl of Liza Ferran just covering that, really.
That's a better ball from Lorna. Yeah, it's a good second. Needs to be beaten, and you know, even though Nor's after 2 on this end, it still poses. She's got to get another one pretty close to beat Lorna's closest.
She pounds after this very quickly on the mat. Needs to settle, doesn't. Gosh, you could see what that might have done if there'd been movement of the jack. She would have been holding the match.
The big bowl by Lorna now. She really needs to get a good second shot, if not the shot. Gives her a chance with her last bowl to play a stunner.
She looks anxious. Her opponent looks anxious.
She's done it.
She's played a rip snorter.
That's a cracking bowl by Lorna Smith. Yeah, she did the same in the playoff game this morning. Drew it with her last bowl, and just shows what a great player she is under pressure. Let's see if Nor can play a bomb here, because she needs to. She needs a great bowl herself in this game.
She's, for the first time in the match, really, she's taking some time over this. She's been down there. She casts a look back over her shoulder halfway back down to the mat. There's another wee look. Just reaffirming in her mind the picture down there, the shot that she needs to play. She's down to that black, dark blue ball, which is just over the jack.
Turn.
That's the shot.
What's happening?
So that's all she's got, isn't it? She has to draw onto that.
Or get rid of the blue bowl. She gets one for an extra end in the tie break.
She's playing with a bit of weight onto it. She's seeking it. Search and destroy from the Malaysian. And she's missed it. And it's just wide. They will shake hands now. And this very tense tiebreaker has finished in favour of Lorna Smith of Scotland.
Thank you for a lovely game. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
They shake hands. Pleasantries are still talking about that last bowl and the ideal shot, but deservedly semi-final. She won the first set by 14-0. She dropped the second 7-4, but with a 3-shot advantage after the first extra end, she's now gone on to take this semi-final. Well done. That's our first finalist, Lorna Smith. Last year's beaten finalist is back into the final. So Lorna Smith started exceptionally well. In fact, throughout that first set, she picked up 3 threes on the third, the fourth and the fifth end. And eventually she took out this first set by 14-0. Her opponent couldn't get consistent with her draw. Even her couple of run shots that she did try only found the gaps. So 14-0 the first set, but then in the second set, it was a changed Nusa Ferran of Malaysia, who just started to get some consistency and putting more than one bowl close to the jack. She played a couple of beauties when she needed to under pressure. Last bowl performance at 2 of the ends, where she claimed the shot and won that second end by 7-4. But it was the extra end start by Lorna Smith which proved the key. She won the first extra end by 3-0, got a 3 there, then it was 3-2, but eventually Lorna Smith of Scotland, with her final bowl, has won this extra end and the match over Nusa Ferran of Malaysia. So as the flags flutter, we're getting ready for the next of our semi-finals, and
matches with 2 sets. Don't
came with a great shot and forced the tie break. I've got the 3 maybe. And yeah, now I'm looking forward to the final. I am a little bit buggered, but anyway, I'll go and get myself sorted out now.
Well, it'll be 3 matches in a day. You were a runner-up here last year. How do you find the greens here at Fendalton?
I like this green. The other one a little bit, but this one is my best green.
How so?
I win well on it.
Actually, there was a moment in that match where we said, backhand. What was going on there?
Oh,
Smith through to the